allowed between 1 and 23, but also, I suppose, from 12 through to 35.
It's such an impressive setup down there at Sandy Park. Nick was mentioning the size of their squad compared to other teams, but it's that quality. There's no point having 60 players if you can't trust the backup staff. And what they've done so well is bringing through so many of those junior players into becoming their first team regular. And maybe at number 10 today, we're seeing a guy who's on the verge of becoming their go-to 10 for many years to come.
Well, I suppose these two teams haven't been that lucky with the weather. The beast from the east a couple of weeks ago, then a sodden wreck last weekend. At the worst, the conditions here, I suppose you describe them as good to soft. There is the referee, Craig Evans, a man with international experience this winter in the Rugby Europe Championship. Also took charge of one of the big under-20 international matches between England and Scotland. So Exeter, finalists for the 4th straight time against Bath, one of England's greatest clubs, but who've never got this far in the Anglo Welsh. Who will be the 2018 champions? We're just 80 minutes or so away from finding out. The shed, absolutely packed, we're used to that. But I guess it's rather unusual that the Gloucester fans over there, and I'm sure there are one or two, will be greatly outnumbered.
So a few red and white, cherry and white shirts hiding under jackets, being held, holding Exeter flags. No love lost between Gloucester and Bath.
Here's Cook. There have been one or two suggestions he might not be fit for this match, but he's raring to go. Certainly there would have been fears after that semi-final that he wouldn't be making it. There's Freddie Burns, remember, a man who scored more than 1,000 points for Gloucester. Many of those here. Homer at fullback.
We set up before the game with Nick Kennedy the fact that Exeter's line out in this competition not functioned how they would have wanted it to. First big throw to get things right.
Well, it didn't look particularly straight to me.
Big timing issue, wasn't there, as well? Hooker throwing well before the pod went up.
There's the first carry from Sarvi. There's Townsend. Dennis. Expect him to be a target in the line out here. A man who earned his international caps in the back row, and as the years have progressed, has moved into the second row. There's Townsend, on to Simmons, missing out Hendrickson. Here is Santiago Cordero, the Argentina international. Nat Kavesic getting, what these days is a fairly rare outing for the first team. He's the former Gloucester player. Good step there from Simmons, and they've got through. Here's Salvi. That was a timely tackle inside the 22. That really did look rather ominous. It's a good start from the Premiership champions, the winner of this title 4 years ago, within 6 metres of the Bath line.
Won't be any surprises for the tactics Exeter employ now. We've seen it all season. Until Bath narrow that defensive line to cope with this pick and go, they'll keep going, and then as soon as they step in defensively, the call will come for the ball.
There goes the captain, Kai Horseman, in what might prove to be his last game of rugby as a professional player. The carry that time from Toby Salmon, huge man, within 4 metres now Exeter, looking for what would be the perfect start. There's Greg Holmes. Holmes, the former Wallaby. And that history of Wallaby players at Exeter, I guess having started with Dean Martin, who lifted the trophy 4 years ago when they won this. Penalty advantage being played, but they're up and very close to the try line. There's Horseman, ready to put his hands on it. Holmes is waiting along with Dennis. They've missed him out. close was that?
No advantage, no try scored there.
Mere blades of grass.
Offside.
I think Townsend's saying,
Yeah, definitely short.
can you check that, referee?
No, both short.
Certainly there was a Bath hand underneath, but had the ball already been grounded and was on the way back up when that hand slid underneath. We saw Simmons make the call over all the forwards, saying he needed it. He had an overlap. He threw the dummy, straightened himself.
Okay.
Well, it's a bold approach. Well, I guess it's even bolder when you consider their recent record at the line out in this competition, and also the way that first throw went.
Obviously, less competition from Bath when they're so close to their line.
On it's out to the hooker, and they've got the perfect start. In hard it is. They got it absolutely right.
I can see the excitement from the Chiefs forwards because the amount of time you practice, moves around the front of the line out, front peels, and they rarely come off in games, but at the big game, worth throwing in. Bath expecting the drive to come, very lacking of defenders on that open side, no one covering, Banahan left on his own. Really well played. It's the delivery from the line out, coming down with your hands free, ensuring you keep them free, so you can lift it up to the peeling player.
Well, the reaction there from Beno Obano rather suggested that Bath fell for the sucker punch. Simmons was a thorn in the flesh for Bath last Friday over at the Rec. And in rather better conditions. It's a splendid start for the fly half. The 2014 champions into a 7-point lead.
Always concerned that a team will drive you at the front where you're slightly lacking in numbers, so players want to get their heads in early.
Townsend with the clearing kick. Homer barely had to move for that. Here's Burns. A little bit of space here for Hurrell. Cooper Vuna just giving his opposite number a shove in the back. Here's Cook. Obano.
Release Pink!
Getting the ball in hand for just about the first time. There's Levi Douglas, scorer, or the scorer in the semi-final against Northampton. There is an Exeter player down. It is Greg Holmes, so Exeter, if only briefly, reduced to 14 men effectively. That's the halfway. As the captain Ewells, here's Burns now, Homer's in the line, the space out wide perhaps for Wilson, here goes Bayliss. Well, maybe that was a chance missed. The carry from Phillips, his last season as a Bath player. Here's Obano. It's a good response from Bath here.
Nice there, it's clear for you, look.
Cook being told the ball is there for him. Neat little step there from Phillips. Levi Douglas.
Straight on feet.
Oh, it's disappointing for
Bath.
Bath.
You've got to clear out somebody, okay? You can't just come off your feet.
Don't see many decisions given for that. It's something that seems to have disappeared a little bit from the game. The referee very sharp to Ewells coming off his feet, but just look at this break. Look at Ewells, how close he takes it to the line. Those defenders have to bite in. Then Burns does exactly the same. That creates the overlap on the outside. And Bath will be delighted with that response. See so often players playing out of the back, using a decoy runner and putting it behind him, but they do it so far away from the line that actually very easy to defend. You just carry on running through, but when they get that close to you, you have to hold your ground, you have to plant your feet, and that creates the numbers.
So the try scorer, Jack Ginnard. That was Matt Kvesic at the front. That was the combination which set up the try. Bath have come offside.
6 blue. Offside.
Tom Ellis, the guilty party, still on his competitive return. Spent 10 months out of the game. Injured training with England last May, which has become something of a theme. An announcement earlier this week, Sam Jones, who broke his leg in a training accident a year or so ago, formally announcing his retirement this week. Good to see Tom Ellis back, though. That was Dennis, the former Wallaby. Ginnard's now got the ball tucked underneath his right arm.
Stay there, stay.
Driving over the 22. This is impressive from Exeter.
6, leave.
Townsend missing out that time, the fly half, and that's James Short coming off his wing.
It's fine.
There is Kvesic. Toby Salmon. Hendrickson, who scored in the big win against the Scarlets earlier in the competition. That's Salmon again, man who is built rather like a huge wildebeest who's had a decent breakfast. Kai Horseman. James Short, scorer in last year's final, in defeat. That's good work from Bayliss and Douglas, but eventually the tackle player got to ground, and now there's the penalty.
Blue captain, please. Just a gentle reminder regarding discipline. Yes, all the penalties going against you at the moment. Yeah. There should be a lot more discipline for your team in the tackle later, please. Yeah.
They're all different.
That's all I ask. Yes, but discipline can improve, please.
Douglas. Giving away the penalty.
Not rolling away.
It worked exceptionally hard. He was involved in bringing down Townsend, almost sacking him at the back of the maul, got straight back to his feet, almost got the choke tackle here, and then fell on top and deliberately shaped over the ball just to delay things again. He could have almost got away with that first little nibble at it, but he can't stay in there, hang around. Easy 3 points on offer.
There is a certain efficiency, it's almost ruthless, that Exeter have produced over the course of the last couple of seasons. And we're seeing it again through the opening 12 minutes at Kingsholm. And the same applies for that right boot. It's a glove which is forever evolving, I guess. You'd look at the 10 jersey. It's been quite seamless, hasn't it? Joe Simmons, who now appears to be wearing the mantle.
They're under a bit of pressure now, Bath, aren't they? Because they've given away a few penalties in and around the breakdown. The referee's told the captain that he's looking at that. You have to be careful. We're in decent attacking position when Yules went off his feet himself. That gave Exeter the field position. They then backed it up with a penalty from that line out. And suddenly they've lost another 3 points.
That's a good point, isn't it? 10 points down, and also with a few marks in that yellow card column. They have to be wary. There goes Phillips. Barno, who was training with England at the start of the year. Burns, that one's on Cordero. Oh, what a step from the Puma. Cordero. Looking for the offload, finds Dennis. Here's Hendrickson. There's Kvesic. Carry there from Ollie Devoto. Devoto has been a Bath fan throughout his life. Former Bath player, of course. Made his debut for them as an 18-year-old. Standing up well onto the try scorer Inard. Again, they're threatening the Bath 22. Here's Salving, playing against one of his former clubs for the second straight year in this final. It was against Leicester last year.
Another penalty the other way. After the player without the ball. All started with a break from Cadero. But again, it was a loose kick from Bath. Can't afford to kick down this guy's throat so that he's got time to catch the ball and then look up in front of him and plan his route of attack. Look, just you think you've got him, and then bang, a little bit of footwork and he's half away. Drags in extra defenders, causes problems, and then once they got that momentum, we saw Devoto carry, and here's Devoto just offloading and being lifted and dropped.
Well, that's just giving away 3 points. And Simmons makes it count. 13 points down, just quarter of an hour into this final. Well, the alarm bells will be ringing now for Todd Blackadder. Well, Levi Douglas just getting a bit of treatment, something put around his forehead. There's James Shaw.
Good tackle from Banahan. Now Bath just need a bit of field position, be able to put a bit of pressure on Exeter. No silly penalties here to allow Exeter to clear their lines, make them kick out under pressure, give you an attacking line-out.
Yes, Matt Banahan, the only survivor for Bath from the last time they won a trophy 10 years ago on this ground, would you believe, against Worcester in the European Challenge Cup. That's Tom Homer. Here's Cook. There is the big fella, Matt Banahan. This will be his home ground next season. Obano. That time from James Wilson. Here's Cooper Boona. Look at the speed and the efficiency of that defence. Phillips offloading the Homer. That was rather better from Bath.
Lovely wide pass from Cook to put Obano into a bit of space.
Here goes Cook, the referee's playing an advantage. Oh, and then it's shoveled on by Wilson. It was Ollie Devoto who came offside.
Good footwork in all of that from Tom Homer, just giving them some momentum. As I said, the pass taking out all that breakdown defence from Cook, allowing Barmo to carry well.
Yeah, I thought you confirmed that, but okay.
Just going back to a few things, Bath, which takes some of their momentum away. Here's the Homer break. They get good quick ball, but look at this width of pass just to get outside all that guard defence.
Good call, same bloke.
Sting the line speed, stop it coming up quite so fast.
Paddy Burns will know every gust, swirl and eddy that this place is capable of. And it's as if he never left the way he struck that. Bath are on the board. High time.
Vital for Bath now. They back that 3 points up with getting out of their own 22 really cleanly. Just get this drill spot on and they'll build their confidence into this game.
Well, Simmons there with the restart. Simmons is the only survivor, if that's the right word, from the Exeter starting 15 from last week's league match at the Rec. In contrast, Bath have 8 of their starting 15 from last week. Here is Cordero. Cordero lost his feet that time, but he likes this ground. Once scored 2 tries here in a World Cup match when Argentina put more than 50 on Georgia almost 3 years ago, so he knows the postcode well. That was Dennis.
Use it.
It's not the execution that Townsend was looking for. And it's Cook who won it. There's Homer. On to Charlie Yules.
Pink, release, please.
A little bit untidy there from Bayliss, who's had a good Anglo Welsh campaign. He's played every minute of Bath's 6 matches. And Simmons
Right, pink, hold.
had a chance to pick his spot.
Hold. Okay.
And it's Burns who finds touch.
Okay. You are Bath. That's yours. Leave him.
Hendrickson leaving the ball behind. Townsend immediately onto the left foot. Well, the hit was a bit late on Tom Homer.
Okay, time off. Time off. Let's calm it down.
There's a bit of a scuffle between Townsend and Cooper Vuna.
Right, just take it, players. Captain. Captain, just keep your players together for a second, please.
Well, the television match official is Sean Brickle, who I suspect will be called into action here. Here we go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, mate.
Look, I haven't seen nothing there. Just come from the side. I need to possibly check this, so I'm going to send it up to you. If you can just show me all the angles, please.
Okay, mate, we'll show the angles now in real time, first of all, mate, okay?
Yeah.
He's actually completely in the air. If you look, he tries to pull out of it. There's nothing he can do. Committed. I guess the worst thing about it is leading with the feet slightly.
There's a little bit of the Eric Cantona about it.
There's too much in it. He's actually not made decent contact. Hasn't
Craig,
gone
those
through
are all
him,
the
has he?
angles.
Right, Sean, from what I'm thinking when looking at that, before Bath kicked the ball, the Exeter player was already committed and in the air, and he's happened to make contact as a result of being in commitment to that phase. I'm thinking there's no foul play in there and play on.
Totally agree with him.
What's
Yeah, Craig, what I'm seeing there, he tries to pull his leg out at the last moment. He is committed. He can't really stop himself, and he does try to pull his leg out of it.
So he's committed, he can't pull his leg out of it, it's just a rugby collision, and continue with the line out.
Yes, it's virtually impossible to stop.
Okay, I'll speak to both captains. Boys, blue captain, Pink captain. Blue and pink, please. Look, lads, it's a bit of an unfortunate event, okay? Yeah. Before your player kicked the ball, your player was already committed to the tackle, okay? He tried to pull out, but in mid-air it's impossible. Just a rugby collision, I'm going to stay with the line out, okay? Yeah. That's the decision, line out.
Well, listening to that from the Bath staff is Stuart Hooper. Good afternoon, Stuart. First of all, Stuart, what do you make of that?
Oh, that's probably a fair call, to be fair. Get on with it.
10 points down after a quarter of the match. Where are you falling short?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of areas. I think a couple of silly penalties from us, if I'm honest. And then against the Chiefs, as we know, that if you're going to kick the ball away, you've got to be very clear about how you're going to get it back. And I think at the moment we're not quite doing that well enough. Keep hold of the ball a bit more and cut out the penalties, then I think we'll be cool.
And going into the match, you've had 3 straight weeks where you've been preparing for matches against Exeter. What is the plan that you've devised to beat them?
Yeah, I think it's just that, really. It's not just about holding on to the ball for the whole game, because you can't do that, but it's about being very, very clear about when you do kick it away, how you're going to win it back, and then the chances to win it back during phase play defence as well. So hopefully we'll see some of that come into fruition. Thanks for your time, Stuart. Cheers, thank you.
So, first scrum of the match.
Good turnover from Ivano in there.
Crouch. Bind.
Impressive Exeter scrum, isn't it? The line out not functioning that well. Bath scrum in this competition, not so good.
It's not a bad return, is it? Operating at 98%, the Exeter scrum.
Go again. Fall your feet up, bring it under you, please.
Well, we were flagging up 1 or 2 question marks about the Exeter line-out in the run into this match, having seen 5 throws go astray in the semi-final against Newcastle. You'd have to say, Ben, the first 23 minutes from the Premiership champions has been pretty flawless.
Yeah, they've been settled, haven't they? They've got right into their rhythm. As Stuart Hooper was saying, they've been assisted in that by being given penalties when they look like they might be under a little bit of pressure. It's a good shunt from the Exeter pack.
Well, a pick-up from Phillips at the base of that scrum. That is the halfway line.
Use it!
There is Chris Cook. O'Flaherty's underneath it. But he took it well. 1 or 2 defensive frailties of O'Flaherty's were exposed by Newcastle in that semi-final, but he looked very confident under the high ball there. Took it well. Great step as well from the wing. And again, had Bayliss to his right. There he is, Bayliss. Phillips. Tremendous break. Is the support there? That was superb from Sean Knight. They're within 6 metres. That's Charles. Best chance of the match so far for Bath. Burns has called for it this way. He sees the chance for Vuna. Vuna for the corner.
What a finish from Vuna, using the moisture on the ground to slide underneath the despairing tackle. Having a little drink out of the boot. I think he gets there. They're going to want to check it, but I'm pretty sure he did.
We're happy with the grounding. Can you just check touch, please? Try yes or no.
Okay,
Well,
mate, so
Cooper
grounding is
Vuna
good, just check him touch.
started off his Bath career with a spectacular finish in the Premiership up in Newcastle. He could well have brought them right back into the Anglo Welsh final here.
How low he goes early, denying the shot on him, and there's nothing wrong with that.
We'll give another angle now, Craig.
Okay.
Just check that left foot. That's fine for me. He's already over the line before his foot goes in.
Yeah, and he's in by several inches, isn't he?
Already over the line. Great finish. Really good spot from Freddie Burns as well.
Well, Cooper Vuna has had plenty of practice operating in confined spaces. Between his career at Worcester and starting out at Bath, he was working in a prison in Melbourne.
Ball's over the line there. Foot's not. Would be an absolute travesty if they didn't give this. There.
Craig, I have a decision.
Yeah.
You may award the try.
Okay.
Well, the double international, he played a couple of times for Australia, half a dozen times since for Tonga, has brought Bath right back into this Anglo Welsh final.
Yeah, just watch Freddie Burns. He's going, he's going, he's going. He leaves it as late as he can, commits the outside defender, makes him step in. That buys Vuna a shot of a one-on-one. And what a finish, going low, no chance to bundle him into touch. Great response from Bath.
Spotted, called and executed by Freddie Burns. Well, he caught that very nicely. Sadly, coming back off the left-hand upright. Another memorable finish there from Cooper Vuna. So Simmons with the restart. Taken in by Charlie Ewells, the captain. Here's James Wilson, Homer. Just a sense now that Bath are beginning to grow in confidence, and well, Tom Ellis got himself in the wrong spot. Accidental offside.
Outside defender, Mafati stepping in. It works for Exeter this time. With Ellis just getting in the way. That'll be something that Freddie Burns has noted. If you've got a winger that's really keen to step in and stop that hit, you can float the ball over the top and go at him as Freddie did for the try.
These two sides were the top seeds from the qualifying pools. Bath having got to this point unbeaten in the competition. Bath did lose one match. They were beaten by a very good Worcester side in January. Sean Knight there, who spent 4 seasons here at Gloucester before moving on to the Dragons. And then eventually to Bath. So approaching the half hour in the final. Exeter leading by 13 points to 8.
Bind. Set. 2, 3, 4. Ready. Now.
The problems over there on the tight head side.
Let's hit that one, stay up, please. Long bind side.
It was Sean Knight who was the problem, wasn't it?
He said it. Long bind from Sean Knight.
Exeter looking for a swift riposte. And a 5-point riposte at that. So Jack Inard, 100% of the line out so far, and that continues. Just 4 metres to go here. Kai Horseman there with the ball. Also putting his shoulder to it is Devoto. They're up to the try line. They've got it down. And it's what you come to expect from this Chiefs team.
That's just a fantastic setup. They got themselves in near enough scrum position with that man in hard. His eyes firmly on the line. He started shaping his body as they got that last little snap on. Looking for the transfer. In he goes, there's the arm. And now the body heights are good. You can see Bath a little bit too high. In come the cavalry of Devoto and Townsend. And he's shaped for the line and drops over. Chiefs at their best.
So Jack Inard becomes the 8th player to score 2 tries in an Anglo Welsh final. What a kick. Exeter up to 20. Exeter in their 4th straight final. They won the first back in 2014. Lost the last 2. So Bath have it all to do again. Homer being held up and driven back by Kvesic. Here's Abano. The rain starting to come down again. Burns it charged down, and there's a real chance here for the captain. Guy Horseman's cut down by Homer. It's still there for Salmon. Exeter looking to go in for the kill.
It was on wide left, but they want to go through the forwards. It's raining, get that pick and go going.
There's Holmes taking it within 2 metres. Salmon has another go. He's forced back by Phillips. Still there though. Holmes with the body position. As always, Exeter playing with such patience when it's necessary. Their ball retention is superb. There is Toby Salmon over it. Bath desperately trying to hold on to him. Exeter claiming the score. And Craig Evans eventually awarding it.
Ruthless from the Chiefs. Bath pressing the self-destruct button. But the quality of the defensive effort from those men in pink, turning defence into attack, and then once they get into the 5-metre zone, no one more deadly at finishing those opportunities off. Just the phase before, Freddie Burns kicks, gets charged down, they get knocked backwards, and it's always about 10s looking better when they're on the front foot than on the back foot. Just looks up, tries to find his spot, but in that moment, a defensive line going forward makes the charge down, and then it's all about the patience going through those phases, and eventually the latch driving your teammate over the line.
What a year it's been for Toby Salmon, this time last year, playing in the second tier for Rotherham. And now a try scorer in the first domestic final of 2018. Dark clouds looming, literally and metaphorically as far as Bath are concerned. It's also blowing a bit out there. 25 points to 8. Bath now with a mountain to climb. James Shaw with a catch, but being driven back. Shanahan again playing his part there for Bath.
Use it.
Well, the pressure good from Bath. The last 5 minutes of the first half.
Use it.
Here's Phillips. Good follow-up tackle from short. Chris Cook. Warner having to bend his back a little for that one. Toma. Ellis presenting the ball. Shanahan, forced back. One of the men involved there, Stu Townsend. Exeter guilty of playing the scrum half.
Looking to play the ball, he cannot play the 9.
Well, the drum is beating for Exeter.
It's a great tackle on Van Hand. Gets straight back to the feet. Always a little bit difficult to work out who the 9 is, because as you get your head up, I'm pretty sure Cook was getting himself into a position there to make the clear out and not actually be the 9, not be the receiver. So I think that's a tough penalty against the Chiefs.
No chance now for Nathan Charles to throw in, and it's stolen. Well, I guess it's worked in one way for Bath. Guy Horseman, the captain, touching down. It is the 5-metre scrum to put in for Bath.
The scrum hasn't been going particularly well for Bath in this game. We've seen the penalty against Knight. We've seen Exeter at times get a shunt on. Really, really crucial scrum for Bath.
Let's step up.
Crouch. Bind. Set. All the way, please.
Well, it's a free kick, but I'd rather suggest
An early push.
they'll go through the same process again. As they've opted to do.
Long and arm, feet up. Long and arm. You have longer and your feet up. Let's go now.
Well, we talk about 10 years
Crouch.
since Bath last won a trophy,
Bind.
and that came at the end of a decade-long wait.
Keep it there.
And now it's a penalty.
Scrum call.
Oh, they've called for the scrum again.
It's interesting, isn't it? It's a tough decision to make because the ball's so slippery. The line out is obviously harder to control in the air and bring down, set up as a maul, but equally, you know, one slip from one of those Bath front rowers and the penalty could get reversed. It's just all about accuracy, but taking that calculated gamble now.
Well, Cooper Booner, we saw a moment ago there, raising his arm from the left-hand touchline. That signal no doubt intended for Freddie Burns. And it's another penalty. Time, I think, now for Exeter to receive a warning. Well, it's Murray Lowe and Sean Knight have got a hold of one another's collars.
There's no danger of a penalty try at any point soon because Exeter haven't shifted off the mark at all towards their own line. It's purely a yellow card
One for you collapsing,
warning.
and then you need the floor there.
It's got to change, boys. Okay? It's got to change.
He's got a long bang, he's just pulling down. Yeah? He has to have a long bang. Yeah. Let's go.
What are you doing?
Murray Lowe having a moan and a groan about Sean Knight's bind.
Scrum.
That's the side that there's been a few problems on at the scrum, isn't it? Let's have a look here. What Murray Lowe was complaining about was the bent arm of Sean Knight, and then almost using the bicep to pull him down. Ease him down. It's starting to move on that side again already. Chiefs maybe just stepping around. Down Murray Lowe's side. The hips kicked out towards the touchline very, very quickly when the ball came in.
So we're into the red numbers for the fourth time of asking.
Should they have taken the 3 points when they were on offer bar?
Right. Set. Hold it.
It's a good shunt from Urbano. He straightened up.
No clear penalty there to me.
Well, the Bath players were standing back and looking at it. And in the end, it's Banahan who fumbles it into touch. And that brings the half-time whistle, despite some protest from the Bath players.
Yeah, the Bath front row, furious, wanting a penalty from that scrum.
So that's half-time in the Anglo Welsh Cup final. And Exeter will feel they've already maybe got one hand on the trophy. 25 points to 8 they lead.
And rightly so. It's a long time since we have had a Welsh team in the semi-finals of the Champions Cup.
Newcastle man in the opening round. He followed that up with his third try at the tournament a week later as the Vulcans ran on a 57-0 victory over Cardiff Blues.
Oh, does it? Oh, that's nice for them. Okay. Scarlett's will be happy with that if it's dry.
Dry.
And back to Scarlett. Welcome back to Kingsholm. The rain continues to fall here for the Anglo Welsh Cup final this season. And Exeter up for the break by 25 points to 8. Silver for grabs confidence and a bit of swag goes into. Yes, please.
Can I tilt it? Yeah, sure. Perfect, thank you. Yeah. Oh no, he's here.
So this is Cooper Vuna run. What? Who's here?
See that yet?
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
Love that.
just a late change of direction from Burns. Cook did very well to find him.
So 2 minutes left on the break, 2 minutes everyone.
And then this is just classic Exeter.
Yeah. The two last tries were like this, really, weren't they?
Yeah.
Griff, do you know who's down there? That way. Chris from Love Island. I barely watched the game. I'm only joking. Okay. Hello and welcome back to Kingsholm as the rain continues to fall at the final of this season's Anglo Welsh Cup. Exeter up here at the break by 25 points to 8. Silverware for grabs and a bit of confidence and swagger going back into the Premiership. And talking about Premiership, we'll be back to league action next weekend on Friday night. We'll be at the AJ Bell. Sale were rampant there last weekend, of course, against Worcester, but Wasps are the visitors next weekend. So next Friday, 7 p.m. on BT Sport 1 and 4K UHD for that one. On Saturday then we go to Twickenham where Bath take their match against Leicester. Yes, the clash next Saturday, 1:30 on BT Sport 3 and 4K UHD. And to round off the weekend, we'll see league leaders and Premiership champions Exeter again, this time at Sandy Park, and they take on tonight's hosts, Gloucester. This afternoon's host, I should say. At Sunday, 2:45 on BT Sport 1 HD and 4K UHD. And we're still up in the weather position. Good first half, a very good first half for Exeter, I guess. And they started really strongly with that Jack and I try.
They did, yeah. It's a classic Exeter run of play, really, the way that they really executed their maul brilliantly, their pick and go game to put Bath under huge pressure.
Yes, it was a brave decision actually to go for the line out, given that was their second line out, and the first line out didn't go very well.
It was, yeah, very early on in the game. It did well that they knew Bath would be worried about their maul. They'd overcommit to it early on, so the front peel was perfectly timed and very well executed. And then to move on, the next one, as soon as they get 5 metres out, they just go to work. They do what Exeter do. They get low, they pump their legs, and they end up driving Bath over.
Bath, you kind of sense were kind of working their way back into the game slowly, despite some really poor discipline in that opening quarter. That Kupavuna try, though, it was a great finish by him. We know we can finish. We've seen him this season do it.
Yes, and that was Burns. He spotted a little bit of space there. A very late change of direction. Chris Cook did well. The two of them obviously got a very good relationship. He found him with a perfect pass. Burns puts the afterburners on, sees a forward in front of him, tries to get round him, forces an error from O'Flaherty, the winger, and then a very nice finish. Vuna goes low, pumps his legs, drives, and a nice finish in the corner.
But that is what Freddie Burns gives you, the little maverick moments, a little change in direction, and that's what we were talking about pre-match.
Yeah, he's so talented. He sees space better than most 10s, with the crossfield kicks and things like that, and he's going to really need to step it up now because they are chasing the game in difficult conditions.
Yeah, final 2 tries then by Exeter in that first half, 3 tries for them, and the last 2 tries were just standard Exeter, weren't they? Patience, the drive, and they were in.
Yeah, that's it, and it's the patience but also the fitness. They get off the ground so quickly, they get on each other, they latch each other through the contact. They actually gain an extra half metre on the floor just for that extra little bit of leg drive. and it's classic Exeter. They do it every single game. You know it's coming, but you just can't stop it.
Yeah, and Kai Horseman proving that age is just a number. Had some legs on him for that charge down.
No, he did well. He did well. I'm sure he saw the try land in front of him there, and the Bath guys did well to get back and stop him.
Yeah, okay, well, Exeter up here at the break, then Bath. They've got a bit of work to do in this Anglo Welsh Cup final. We know that the trophy is going to go to the West Country, but where? That's the big question. It's looking good for Exeter at the moment. So join us back here at Kingsholm for the second half.
Yeah, thanks very much. Welcome to Parker Scarlet. It's very quiet in here at the moment, but already, and we're hours away from kick-off, the crowds have been building. In fact, the build
Exeter hedging, which points to 8 was something I've got for, so more imminently.
Yeah, thanks very much. Welcome to Parker Scarlet. It's very quiet in here at the moment, but already, and we're hours away from kick-off, the crowds have been building. In fact, the build-up to this game has been huge all week around here in West Wales, and rightly so. It's a long time since we've had a Welsh team in the semi-finals of the Champions Cup, never mind the quarter-finals. We have Scarlets against La Rochelle, two teams who share the same rugby ethos. Attack, attack, attack. The surface is looking good. It's an absolute sellout. It's set to be an absolute belter in this quarter-final that gets a weekend of quarterfinals up and running here on BT Sport. We'll see you at 4:45. Back to you.
Welcome back for the first of our live matches on BT Sport this weekend. Is the Anglo Welsh final here at Kingsholm, soon to be followed by a weekend of European quarter-final action. Exeter ahead here at the break by 25 points to 8. What's the second half got for us, I wonder? Okay, but we have the small matter of the Champions Cup quarter-finals to come this weekend, which all kicks off in Llanelli straight after this match. And Craig Doyle is at Parker Scarlets for us.
Yeah, thanks very much. Welcome to Parker Scarlet. It's very quiet in here at the moment, but already, and we're hours away from kick-off, the crowds have been building. In fact, the build-up to this game has been huge all week around here in West Wales, and rightly so. It's a long time since we have had a Welsh team in the semi-finals of the Champions Cup, never mind the quarter-finals. We have Scarlets against La Rochelle, two teams who share the same rugby ethos. Attack, attack, attack. The surface is looking good. It's an absolute sellout. It's set to be an absolute belter in this quarter-final that gets a weekend of quarterfinals up and running here on BT Sport. We'll see you at 4:45. Back to you.
We will indeed. We can't wait for that. Been over 10 years since the Scarlets have reached the knockout stages of Europe, and it's La Rochelle's first season in the competition. What a feast of running rugby awaits us there, and awaits us all weekend, we hope, of course, because after Scarlets La Rochelle, we've got an all-French affair in the Challenge Cup as Paul welcomes Stade Francais, and then tomorrow from 12:30 on BT Sport 3 HD and 4K UHD, Connacht hosts Gloucester, and then a huge match from the Aviva in Dublin as Leinster welcome European champions Saracens as Easter Sunday 3 p.m, and then we have all the highlights for you at 9 p.m. later on Sunday evening. But back to the here and now then, and the action here at Kingsholm. Exeter ahead here with a big 40 minutes ahead of us. Who will lift this season's Anglo Welsh Cup trophy? We'll soon find out. Back we go then to our commentary team of Ben Kay and Martin Gillingham.
Well, on the evidence of the first 40 minutes, it's going to be the reigning Aviva Premiership champions. Well, for the regular travellers among the Exeter fans, there will be a gap today in their ranks. The one filled by Colin Baker, who died this week. He was one of the great Chiefs characters. They used to call him Blue Feather because of his headwear. He literally used to beat the drum for the Chiefs. There have been one or two drums being beat over the course of the first 40. It was a dominant performance by the men in pink. And now just 40 minutes away from the first silverware of this season. Cordero knocks it on under the high ball, claimed by Charles. Here goes Will Hurrell onto Freddie Burns. The cross kick meant for Cooper Boona. And Cordero almost caught out by the bounce of the ball, though. Burns hanging back. Simmons very confident under that high
ball. 3 decent kicks from Bath early on, putting pressure on the Chiefs at the back.
Here's home. Simmons barely had to move a muscle for that one. 110 to the other.
Cagey open to the second half. Not a lot of running. Conditions underfoot not so good. Lots of Cordero struggling to get traction.
I suppose in Santiago Cordero's defence, he hasn't played too much over his career in these conditions. A man from the Pampas will have played in pretty firm and dry conditions in Argentina. When he was here and he scored those 2 tries on this pitch against Georgia, it was in October time, or even the end of September, wasn't it? So the pitch was at its best. It's a fairly swift introduction to England in the midwinter. Only arrived in January, did Santiago Cordero. May stay next year. Cook. Simmons again underneath it. Well, a chance here for Bath to force play into the Chiefs 22.
Breakaway, nice and easy. Nice and easy.
Encouraging first 3 minutes of this half. Jones, Burns will drive this as deep as he can into the 22.
Freddie Burns playing in his 4th Anglo Welsh final. He's the only defending champion on the pitch, is Freddie Burns, having won with Leicester last season against Exeter.
Seven-man line out with Cook at the front, ready to peel round if needed. Bayliss can go into the drive, though he's a long way back for that, so...
Charlie Ewels there firing it down. There's Cook. Cooper Boona, the scorer of the Bath try, being forced back, didn't have too much space to operate in. Here's Cook. Phillips. Burns. Loma picking it up, rather nonchalantly in the end. Well, Bath being picked off rather easily at the moment. In possession, but being driven back. Banahan giving them some go forward. There's Josh Bayliss. Ewels feeding the ball onto Douglas, but then the ball put forward, and it's Salvi. And look at Cordero's after it, bearing down on Burns. Well, that was copybook stuff from Freddie Burns. The sort of skill which I guess in these conditions is as easy as it will get.
Well, the first player back in support for Freddie Burns as well. Beno Urbano brought forward, getting his 10 out of trouble there.
Phillips that time.
Use it!
Well, that knock-on costing Bath something like 75 metres.
This is the ball spilt, gets kicked ahead. Burns realises he's under pressure, accelerates, but Urbano, look at those wheels getting back. And then holds Freddie Burns up for a fraction, just trying to rip the ball and secure it.
Can't imagine Julian White doing that.
Julian White would be smacking the player on his team that had dropped the ball further up the field at that point.
Josh Bayliss down there just getting some treatment. And he's played every minute of this Anglo Welsh Cup campaign for Bath. Started the match with 60 tackles, leading the tackle count in the Anglo Welsh Cup.
Hearing that Eddie Jones is here, Martin, and Urbano would be one guy that he's here to watch. Charlie Ewels as well. Devoto, obviously, for Exeter. Urbano played really well last week. He was in contention. Man of the match.
Charlie Ewels, player with a big future, 5 caps for England already, still just 22. There's Urbano. Well, he shone in early and mid-season, didn't he? And he went training with England at the start of the year, and then his reputation did take a bit of a jolt, didn't it?
I hadn't seen him live for a few weeks until last week, and I was impressed by how much his fitness had come on. I think that was the issue. He had raw talents and he has a lot of power. I think he admitted himself when he first was introduced to the England squad that he knew he had to work on his fitness. He's obviously done that very, very, very hard.
Well, I guess after that sprint, we might see that now. How does he recover from that sprint of 75 or 80 metres? He's certainly a right bundle of muscle, isn't he? There he is at the... He's the tail gunner in that line out. Francois Lowe on the right, Matt Garvey you can see there in the middle.
Stability, lads. Crouch. Bind. Set. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ready. Stable, please. Hitting and chasing, pink. Yes, hit and hold.
Bath with half an hour to save their season and win their first trophy for a decade. It's remarkable to think, isn't it, Bath? Such a dominant force in English and even European rugby towards the end of the 90s. The last Bath captain to win a trophy, Steve Borthwick, on this ground in 2008. The Challenge Cup final against Worcester. Another man who was playing in that game, David Flatman, who's here today. It's just about the stickiest part of the pitch. Homer Hoyset. Here's Simmons. I can imagine, Ben, that Exeter will be happy to indulge in this sort of stuff for the rest of the afternoon.
Well, you'd imagine that Bath will have to take the first risk, won't they, at some point. An extra hope to catch them.
Hurrell. James Wilson. Over in the tram lines on the far side, and a foot is in touch.
Big collision to drag him out towards that touch line. He's aware of how close he is, tries to step back inside. And did he still have his hand on the ball? That's what he was questioning.
James Wilson's a player who will know these conditions well. He was born into them. From Invercargill, World Rugby's southernmost point in deep Southland in New Zealand.
He had a great game last week, particularly used as a carrier off line-out ball, straight off the top. He hit up in midfield, and Bath could get some really good momentum and forward carrying off him. They haven't had that opportunity so far this afternoon.
There's Tom Homer, who turns 28 on Sunday.
Boys, get 10 yards, please.
He shares his 28th birthday with former Gloucester man, certain Johnny May. Simmons fires it into the 22 again. Here's Burns. Well, Bath are going to have to be both more imaginative and risk-taking than this. They trail by 17.
I sort of see what they're doing. They don't want to go from their own 22 and risk getting caught. So they're trying to win that kicking battle, just get a bit of distance, try and put a bit of pressure here on this line-up, maybe get a steal. And then I'm sure once they're in Exeter's half, we'll see a bit more risk-taking.
Horseman there at the front of the line-out. Horseman, whose professional career could well end today. Good chase from O'Flaherty. There's Bayliss with the step, just evading Toby Salmon, one of the try scorers. Half an hour to go in the final. Here is Guy Horseman. His professional career, well, it started 16 or 17 years ago, playing in a Harlequin side, which included a certain Hugo Monye. There goes Simmons. Abano doing the tackling. Here's Burns again. Cordero. That's directly into touch.
So that's the mistake Bath were looking for. Now they get the line out on their 10-metre line. That's what all the kicking's been about. force an error, or even in this case don't force an error, but now they have to be imaginative. Now they have to set up a good attacking opportunity. I mentioned Wilson and his carrying. They've put Phillips out there as well to join him.
Banahan coming off his wing that time, didn't get the ball in the end. There's Burns on here to James Wilson.
Yeah, what kind of team? It's too late, it's gone now, it's going to be quicker.
Burns taking on Dennis, one or two of his Exeter friends. That's Phillips. Phillips who moves on to Sale at the end of the season. Harold been easily wrapped up. Well, it was Holmes just getting himself in the way.
Again, not going anywhere. Right decision from Cook to fire it into low. To Holmes, rather. Going for the points, trying to cut it down to 2 tries. Points went on offer. Just think that they probably should have done that in the end of the first half when they had the opportunity.
Bath preparing to make 3 alterations to their pack. Luke Charteris on the left there. Jack Walker, the Yorkshireman, in the middle. Freddie Burns, the top point scorer in the history of this competition. Can he make it a career 221? He can. The deficit now 2 converted tries. The replacements have been made. Josh Bayliss has come off, so too Nathan Charles, also Levi Douglas. And they've brought on 74 Welsh caps in the form of Luke Charteris. You see confirmation of those alterations. The other one I didn't mention, Paul Grant. Paul Grant was among the try scorers last week in the match at the Rec. Now the Bath fans would dearly love him to repeat the dose here.
Again, it could be a free kick.
We just wanted to stop Exeter huddling at the line out, taking extra time.
Kvesic there feeding the ball down to Dennis. Bath getting frustrated, coming in from the side. The player has been penalised, Tom Ennis.
Call is 6 through. Set entry number 6.
Away a couple of penalties, hasn't he, Ellis, in this game?
It's coming towards you, son.
One of the topical conversations in the newspapers this week, Ben, has been the talk about potential ring fencing of the Premiership. Those who don't support that view inevitably cite Exeter, and I guess that point being reinforced this afternoon. What a story Exeter have been when they won this title 4 years ago. It was their first major trophy in their existence for almost a century and a half. And this might just put the cherry on top of it. They're driving, they're up and over the try line. Have they got the ball down? The referee's trying to get the best possible angle. Well, Craig Evans decides the ball has been held up.
There's the ball.
Well, it's Jack Inard, isn't it?
Never down.
So if they come over, you can, yeah.
All right.
Sean Knight down there on one knee.
See how sticky it is down in that corner. It's going to make the scrum very, very difficult for that man to referee. Obviously the Chiefs all want to test out Bath on their own line.
Time on.
Very, very difficult for the forward backs as well. Just takes one guy's foot to slip underneath him and you're going backwards very quickly.
Nothing changes, lads, on opposition ball. Nothing changes. Hit and hold, take the weight.
That Bath pack has been reinforced in the last few minutes, of course.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
Tommy is there going eyeball to eyeball with Matt Kvesic. There it is for Kai Horseman. Townsend doing the steering. Horseman, the football. There's the ball. And the referee's awarded the penalty.
No. He was stable and he walked.
Penalty awarded. The Bath stepping out, but again Murray Lowe going down that outside slightly. He did get a shunt on just before he went, which always paints a better picture to the referee.
Scrum called.
Big pressure now on this Bath front row with one penalty against them. There's Lowe, you can just see just tipping out and now straightening up, and Holmes as well straightens his bind underneath. Smart scrummaging from the international pairing.
Big slap, lads. Let's go, focus here. Big slap, let's go. Big rock, big.
Good gap on the last one, boys.
Exeter looking for more of the same. There's Murray Lowe.
Crouch.
Capped 37 times by Scotland. Has started every match of Exeter's Anglo Welsh campaign. The put in from Townsend. Townsend goes for the gap, held up there by Banahan. Half a metre out, the men in pink here. They will feel they're just half a metre away from the first title of the year. Have they got it down? Or just for a moment, the referee appeared to have awarded it. But then, officer swiftly changed his mind.
It looked like he might have got there, referee not sure. Does really well to extend the body underneath the contact, the tackle that was coming in. Stays low, head low, and now extends that body. Does it quite reach the line? Maybe not quite. Good defence from Bath.
Well, so the change now from Bath on the tight head side, and it's Victor Delmas. There he is, who only joined the club during the week. The Frenchman was due to join at the start of next season, but the injury last week to Henry Thomas.
It's a huge first scrum to come on for. I think Todd Blackadder, realising how much pressure in the referee's mind was coming on that Bath front row to bring on that fresh, explosive power.
Can Victor Delmas make an immediate impact on Murray Lowe? There it is for... Well, this time it's a penalty against Exeter. And it's against Murray Lowe. So I guess that is an early success for the Frenchman Delmas.
Slips underneath the chest of the new man, doesn't he?
Jack Walker wearing 16, the former England under-20 captain. Into the final quarter. Bath trailing by 14. Short, but it's Wilson who gets it.
Got to go left here, Bath. Shanahan's been caught, but huge overlap. It's still there. Look at all those pink shirts in and around the ball.
Here's Phillips driving forward. Cook, Burns, out to Hurrell. There's Wilson again. Bath will feel it's now or never. They've got to make some impact on that scoreline. Charteris feeds it on. There's Ellis. Yules, Burns, Abano. Superb defence again from Exeter that time. It was Hendrickson.
Just a bit of frustration, I think, from Bath in and around the breakdown at the moment. They get the penalty there. The body's just hanging in and around after the tackle, a fraction too long.
Well, this could be a season which, if Bath don't stage some sort of remarkable comeback in the next 20 minutes, will have all but gone from their grasp. Out of Europe, almost out of contention in the Aviva Premiership, and trailing Exeter here in the Anglo Welsh final. Can they get the score here that really would transform things? Abano. That's Cook onto Yules. Held up by Kovacic. Phillips with the carry. The ball went loose. There's Walker. And the ball went forward. And have Bath just dropped the last chance for them really to win this Anglo Welsh Cup. Chances will be few and far between over the course of the next 17 or 18 minutes. That could prove very costly indeed.
Yeah, much better from Bath in terms of winning those collisions, getting the momentum, but just that transfer of the ball. Great tackle from Simmons to stop Phillips dead.
Well, Ricky Pello's down there. Hi, Ricky.
Hi, how are you?
Good, well, you're almost there. 17 and a half minutes. What are you focusing on?
It's just been clinical. I think in the first half, when we got into scoring opportunities, we took our points and built a lead. And the second half now, Bath are putting us under pressure, and we're just going away from the things that work for us. We have got a lead, but we know we're going to have to fight really hard to maintain that now. And it's just showing that if we aren't clinical in our scoring opportunities, we're going to end up back under pressure, under our sticks.
What did you say during the half-time break? Just more of the same?
Yeah, obviously the weather's coming in a little bit. It's dried up now, but we talked about just obviously our kicking game and our energy and our kick chase and getting our shape around how we defended there, but also just still going after the game and still attacking it. And I think this half we've just taken our foot off the gas a little bit in terms of how we wanted to play. It's just about now trying to rip the momentum back off Bath.
And Ricky, you're a former Bath scrum half. Any room for sentiment this afternoon?
Not at all. We're going for a win and that'll be it.
I thought not. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And how impressive was that? Exeter win the penalty. More alterations being made by Bath. On comes the Puma, Lucas Nogueira. It's the end of the afternoon for Benno Abano. And Reece Priestland replaces Freddie Burns at fly half. Well, Freddie Burns a winner 12 months ago with Leicester. Not looking as if it's going that way this time around with Bath.
Keep your bind, Bath, keep your bind.
It's not going to go anywhere. Ellis has got his hands on that ball. It's been stolen.
That's Maguire, but Maguire shoveled into touch. Well, it's not been a bad afternoon for that man, Jack Inard. Started it with 1 or 2 questions being asked about him. He's got 2 tries, and nearly every throw has been accurate as well. He's now been replaced. So Exeter have brought on Sean Moulton. There's Moulton, his first involvement. The other change that has been made, the departure of the captain. The catch from Grant. Banahan, some space here for Priestland. There are plenty of Bath jerseys around. I think that might have been meant for Hurrell. It was picked up on the half volley by Wilson. Well, the referee says that went forward.
Just that accuracy that Ricky Bello was talking about for his team. Banahan's been really good. He's certainly looked the most destructive and strong player on the ball for Bath at times. But a lot of passes have gone down for Bath today, haven't they? A lot of passes have gone in between 2 players. No one 100% sure who's going to take it.
Jack Owlett, one of the youngsters in this Exeter side, is preparing to come on. He'll be the replacement tie head. Well, this Exeter side today, very much a blend, Ben, of new faces, young men, a couple of teenagers on the bench, but then a few of rugby's senior citizens, I guess, when we look at the likes of Greg Holmes, well into his 30s, Kai Horseman, of course, now 36.
Yeah, Salvi in there as well. Yeah, that's nice. It's a nice balance, isn't it? Those guys, those new guys coming into the team will learn an awful lot off the experienced guys. Experienced guys will get a bit of a lift with the enthusiasm that those youngsters bring into the team.
I'm trying to work with you, let's work with me, okay? Your feet are under.
There is Julian Salvi playing against one of his former clubs. I guess you'd have to say was at the peak of his powers when he was at Welford Road.
He was pretty good when he was at Bath as well. He was always a thorn in Leicester's side, which is exactly why Leicester went on to secure his services when he became available again.
Crouch!
Gareth Steenson, well wrapped up. Something of a changing of the guard at Exeter in terms of the fly half. Joe Simmons, just 21, younger brother of Sam, who was so good in this competition last year. Well, coming up straight after this, we'll be over there at 4:45. Players just arriving for the opening European Champions Cup quarter-final. We're at Parker Scarlets. The Scarlets against La Rochelle. La Rochelle, who picked up 15 points out of a possible 15 through their opening 3 matches of the Champions Cup. Things have slipped a little bit for them, both in European terms and domestically since, but there it is. BT Sport 2, 4:45, Scarlets against La Rochelle. This the appetizer. What an appetizer it is for what promises to be an exhilarating European weekend. Really looking forward to not just that match tonight, but What about the game on Sunday over at the Aviva? Leinster against Saracens should be a real cracker. Well, talking about crackers, that was right out of the middle of the bat. And I guess you'd say he judged it just about right in terms of economy of effort, bouncing it off the crossbar.
Yeah, worked its feet on the way through.
Good line, Ben. Well, that didn't go 10, but it doesn't matter. In pops Dave Dennis. There's confirmation of that alteration at tight head. 34-year-old Greg Holmes replaced by the youngster Owlett. It's the head boy at Millfield School, which has produced so many outstanding sportsmen over the years, Olympians and rugby players. Sir Gareth Edwards went there many moons ago. There's Owlett, pristine in pink. With a little step. It was well read by the Bath defence, but they've got a 17-point cushion. It's all looking rather comfortable for Exeter. Their 4th straight Anglo Welsh final. This would be their 2nd triumph. There's Devoto. Pass from Simmons out wide. That's James Freeman. Poke over the top. Homer goes back, but not too much he can work from there. There's Reece Priestland inside his own in-goal area. Good hoof there from the fly-half. Quickly taken by Cordero. That's Simmons pumping it into the 22. Homer. James Shaw will look to counter. Very low there, playing the impromptu scrum half. Townsend. A poke over the top there from Simmons. Across comes Priestland. That's through the attempted tackle of Devoto, but short it was who cut him down. There goes Paul Grant. Bath holding on to the hope of a miracle. There's Will Hurrell. Hunted down there by O'Flaherty. Just 8 minutes to go. Freeman forcing Ellis off the ball. And the ball is lost forward, so it is an advantage now to Bath. Phillips held up by Sean Moulton.
To your feet. Strong advantage is now over.
Just not testing that Exeter defensive line enough, are they? As long as Exeter man up and make their big tackles, there's nothing at the moment that's really stressing them in terms of angles of run or delayed passes.
There's Lucas Nogueira. Cooper Vuna. Luke Charteris being cut down by Freeman. Well, Wilson again well to it, but the referee decides it's gone forward. Cordero has just taken a bit of a bang, perhaps to the head.
Bring on. Time's off. Bring on.
Here comes Joe Snow, one of the teenagers. Lee Devoto also down getting some treatment. going off. So 7 minutes to go in the Anglo Welsh final, ahead of what is an exciting weekend of European action. Straight after this, we're over to West Wales. Scarlets against La Rochelle. That's the first Champions Cup quarter-final, 4:45. Then later tonight, we're down at the Stade Hameau, down in the southwest of France. Pau against Stade Francais, an all-French Challenge Cup quarter-final. 8 o'clock for that one. And then tomorrow, we're in Galway. It's Connacht against Gloucester. 12:30, just after lunchtime. BT Sport 3 for that one. And then on Sunday, what a cracker that is. Leinster against Saracens. It's Ireland against England. Part 2, I guess. Easter Sunday, 3 o'clock, BT2 Sport. So, the defending champion Saracens have it all to do in Dublin. What a cracker that'll be.
Bind. Set.
So here is Joe Snow, who's been playing throughout the season in National League 1 for Plymouth Albion.
Far side, early, hold it. Another scrub.
Well, Leicester Tigers over the years have developed their reputation for an outstanding academy. I guess you'd have to say that the one at Exeter is starting to rival it.
Oh, hugely. Yeah, the guys they bring through, not just their academy. I think one of the really sensible things that Exeter do, that all teams strive to do, it's not just who you develop yourself, but those people no one else has discovered. Maybe in the surrounding areas, maybe at championship clubs, maybe abroad, and you bring them in and you develop them as an Exeter player, and the Chiefs have done that really well as well.
Penalty to Bath.
Hands in by the flanker. Sorry, Simon.
Yes, they've certainly mined, haven't they, all the nooks and crannies of Cornwall as well. Such a strong rugby county over the years. And there's the man who's been a key player in it, the director of rugby, Rob Baxter, taking something of a back seat in this Anglo Welsh campaign, and Gareth Steenson comes on. Just he and Kai Horseman were involved when Exeter won this title first 4 years ago. The carry there from Banahan. Here goes Walker. Max Green has come off the bench. Ball lost forward by Bath. That just about sums up their afternoon, I'm afraid.
I'm not sure how the ball came out there. It's a scrum down the print ball. I'm not sure how it came out. Scrum print. Yeah, the idea from the moving out to sit together. That's all it.
That's just been those little link-ups, hasn't it? So many spilt balls on that little tip-on pass, or ball going to ground. No one 100% sure who's going to take it.
Over the course of the last 2 decades, trophy winners in 1998, and then had to wait a decade until 2008 when they won the European Challenge Cup on this ground. Well, 2018 will not go down as a vintage year. They will have come here with high hopes. And yes, we know that they've had injury problems over the course of the winter, but they've certainly put out something which looks rather more like a first 15 or a strongest possible 15 today than Exeter, who really have dug deep into their playing resources. Exeter starting with just one man here who started the league game a week ago. Yet they have been a class apart in just about every department. Snow just popping up the ball. Oh, the fumble, and then it was half charged down. There's Max Green. The carry from Phillips.
17 leave.
Priestland. And look at the defence, that was so well anticipated by Exeter. Well picked up on the half volley by Walker. Green. Well, the kick ahead, and eventually it goes into touch. So 2.5 minutes to go. Exeter well on their way to winning the first silverware of the season. It's that time. Man of the match, Ben.
That's not been the most glamorous of matches, so I'm not going to give it to anyone glamorous. It's, for me, the reason Exeter have stamped out this game has been down to the scrum, and Murray Lowe has been right at the heart of that. Those scrums on his own line, scrums on Bart's line. He's our man of the match.
Well, he's running off. I think he's coming to collect his award, isn't he? Perhaps he's just been replaced. It's been quite a career. More than 150 appearances for Glasgow. Played 37 times for Scotland. Very versatile as well, starting at loose head today, but he started internationals at tight head. Priestland. Just pokes that in behind O'Flaherty. That's Harry Strong. Back here to Priestland. Last 2 minutes. Darren Atkins getting through one tackle. Not the second, though. There's Noguera. Ball knocked on by Exeter, so there is an advantage being played. Well, Ricky Pello must be delighted. He's been in charge of this campaign. He's the man who's taken Exeter to so many of these finals. While Rob Baxter has taken a back seat.
Give each other space and give each other time.
And this competition, I suppose, Ben, for the likes of Exeter, as much as anything, it's a health check for the club. How well are we? Not just right at the top, but beneath that.
It's impressive to be right at the top of the Aviva Premiership and still managing to be at the top of the tier down, if you like. Those players that are acting together with that senior squad, and you know that if you need to call on these guys in the run into the end of the season, they've got the ability to step up, play in a big final win. It's a very impressive club at the moment, and I guess still very much on for a domestic double.
Yes, and the consequence of their success throughout the winter domestically is that they have a huge lead now in the Aviva Premiership. They can be treading water a little bit now for a month or so, aren't they, until they get back to the really competitive stuff, once they look towards a semi-final in the Aviva Premiership. I know that there are 11 directors of rugby in the Premiership who'd love to be in that position, but in its own way that produces its own challenges for Baxter, doesn't it, now that he's got to go through that period of 5 weeks or so, which are going to be fairly fallow competitively.
Yeah, that tension brings out performance, competition brings out performance, but they've just got such a swagger about them at the moment, and based on the fact that even when they don't play that well, they know when they get down into that red zone, into the scoring opportunities, they can convert them just with that patience and that pick-and-go game.
So Bath in the final with the ball in hand. And Exeter know that they're home and hosed. Here's Priestland. On to Ellis, caught in midfield. Danahan. His last final for Bath. He'll be a Gloucester player next season. This will be his new home.
Off the head, play on.
The ball handing gone forward there off an Exeter hand.
Blue, you lost it, big ball. Pound.
Well, I think the referee decided he was knocked on by a Bath player. The ball hacked into touch, a slightly understated end to what has been a tremendous, ruthlessly